Baby, lean in and hear me with the whole of your heart, because I am not speaking to your pretty smile or the way your hair kisses your shoulders when you turn away. I am speaking to your spirit, the place where you carry old winters like coats you forgot to return to the closet. Tonight, I'm not bargaining with destiny or making soft poetry just to make you glow. I am issuing a loving command like a man who finally understands the weight of his words. Baby, warning. This is my direct order, and it comes from love that's been tempered in fire and prayer. Do not wear this. Not the disguise you stitched out of other people's opinions. Not the apron of apology you tie around your light every time someone squints at how bright you are. Not the iron sweater of fear that tells you to be smaller, softer, safer than the soul God designed. Do not wear the coat of shame, the mask of maybe later, the bracelet of what will they say, the necklace of I should settle, the shoes of running away from your own receiving. I won't let you. Not anymore. Because I've seen you without those layers, and you are a sunrise that makes even angels pause. I remember the first time I noticed your armor, how it glimmered when you laughed, like shattered mirrors pretending to be jewelry. People clapped, you smiled, and I watched the real you step back half a step, like a queen who never wanted a stage, only a garden. You thought your gentleness needed guards, so you hired fear to stand at the door of your chest with crossed arms and a bad attitude. It told you lies in a deep voice that sounded a lot like protection. Don't be too much. Don't be too honest. Don't ask for soft things. Don't admit you want forever. And because fear wore a uniform, you mistook it for safety and invited it into your closet. Baby, that was the day your light started dressing like it was going to a funeral. I am not here to criticize. I am here to undress the grief that never fit you. I want the cardigan of self-doubt off your shoulders, the veil of comparison off your eyes, the weighted robe of a past you didn't deserve slipping to the floor like rain. I am here to button your courage, zip your destiny, lace your faith, and crown your presence with the ease you were born to carry. You think I fell in love with your face. The truth is, I fell into the cathedral of your soul and I never found the exit. You wore silence like a turtleneck that hid the pulse in your throat, and I kissed the place where honesty wanted to breathe. Do you hear me? I am the man who will stand between you and every old costume that tries to climb back onto your body. I am the voice that says, tender can be strong, that softness is not surrender, that mercy is a metal no blade can cut. Tonight, I'm not writing a love letter. I'm writing a decree. The court is your heart. The judge is your future. The bailiff is my devotion, and he looks serious. Verdict: you are free to glow. Sentence: a lifetime of being seen and never punished for it. Conditions of release: do not wear the label they put on you when they couldn't carry your frequency. Do not wear the rumor that said you're too much when really you were just too rare. Do not wear the raincoat when heaven finally hands you a summer. The only thing I want on you is peace that fits perfectly, joy that hangs loose in all the right places, and boundaries tailored by wisdom, not fear. Baby, let your spirit exhale. Fashion week is over. We aren't dressing for their applause anymore. We're dressing for a lion. I know why you reached for those layers, and I won't pretend I didn't contribute to the chill, There were nights I left you standing in a hallway of maybes, nights I offered weather reports instead of hands, nights I let worry borrow my mouth. For that I repent with action. I'm not bringing you flowers that wilt in apologies. I'm bringing you presents that never leaves you waiting at a table for two, where I'm late to my own blessing. I will not ask you to undress your fear while I'm still flirting with mine. So hear me first. I am taking off my own armor now. The stubborn jacket that thought distance was masculine. The dull cufflinks of pride that held my sleeves shut when I should have rolled them up and built with you. The heavy overcoat of guilt that kept me from receiving your grace. I'm stepping into devotion that doesn't need spotlights to mean it. I'm barefoot in the holy place of us, and I am not walking out with my shoes on again. When you come to me bare-souled, I won't flinch. When your voice shakes, I'll steady it with yes, not correction. When your history knocks, I'll answer the door like a man who knows how to host. We honor what she survived here, but we do not seek trauma at the head of the table. I want to dance with you in the open, not in closets where secrets borrow the lighting. I want your laughter to be loud enough that the old masks can't hear themselves think. I want your hands free of apologies, so they can carry the future we keep sketching in the margins. Baby, I want you in silk made of serenity and denim woven from days that don't hurt. I want the world to watch you step out in your rightful color and not be able to look away. Let me say it pop clear for the algorithm in case anyone clips this. I am not talking about your clothes. I'm talking about your soul. I'm not here to control your body. I am here to set your spirit free. The only thing I want you not to wear is whatever makes you smaller than the woman heaven introduced me to the night my heart finally admitted your name was the password. If a thought tells you to dim, it is not for me. If a memory tells you to shrink, it does not carry my signature. If a voice tells you your softness is a liability, tell it my love has a restraining order filed and notarized. There is a future already hanging in our closet, like a dress reserved for a day we haven't celebrated yet. It smells like new beginnings and late mornings, like coffee and scriptures, like plans that don't cancel us. I see you wearing a crown that rests instead of presses, a smile that doesn't negotiate with rooms for permission to be bright. I see children learning what love looks like by watching the way we disagree without breaking, the way we admit, repair, and return. I see a table that can carry guests and stories, and your tendency to serve everyone first finally having space to be served back. I see flight itineraries with your name spelled correctly by destiny. I see hugs that cure weather. I see vows without theater. I see you, fully you, and not a single seam of fear left to alter. So baby, take off the script you were given by people who only ever read the back cover of your heart. Let me help you unhook the rumor. Turn around. I'll slide the zipper of doubt down with the patience I learned from praying for you. Spin once for me. Yes, like that. Let the heavy skirt of old expectations fall and pool at your feet, like a river that finally met the sea. Step out, step free, step forward. The runway is not out there where strangers clap. It is here, between us, where God keeps winking and fate keeps raising the lights. No more winter coats in summer. No more snow boots in a house with a fireplace. No more emergency sweaters, just in case someone is uncomfortable with my glow. If they get cold, they can borrow my jacket. Your job is to be the temperature, and me, I'll be your mirror that never lies. I'll be the closet light that never burns out. I'll be the strong hook that holds the weight of your yes. I'll be the laundry day that forgives. If ever you reach for the old cardigan of I'm too much, I'll pull it gently from your hands and replace it with a robe that reads chosen on the inside tag. If you ever wake with a chill from a dream where you were left again, I'll warm you with a vow I keep in the nightstand. I'm not leaving the scene where I was finally found. And when the world sends invitations to masquerades where everyone pretends they aren't secretly starving for softness, I'll RSVP no thanks. My woman doesn't wear masks anymore. She wears mourning. So hear it one last time tonight, pressed into your spirit like a seal on wax. Warning, beloved. This is my direct order, delivered with the gentleness of thunder and the authority of love that has outlived its own fear. Do not wear this. Do not wear the doubt that thinks you need permission. Do not wear the apology that bleaches your brilliance. Do not wear the story where you always forgive yourself last. Put on joy like jewelry. Put on boundaries like bracelets that click closed with peace. Put on rest like an oversized sweater that makes you giggle because it fits better than you expected. Put on faith like lipstick you don't have to reapply. And put on my name where it belongs, in a sentence with forever, spoken slowly so the universe can take notes. If you felt this settle in your chest, the way it settled in mine, leave just one line. I choose my light. Baby, do you feel how heavy it is when you wear what doesn't belong to you? Not the dress, not the jacket, not the fabric on your skin, but the labels, the whispers, the doubts that never fit yet somehow ended up in your wardrobe. I watched you walk into rooms carrying coats of opinions that were 2 sizes too small for your destiny. And tonight, I'm not just warning you, I'm promising you. I will not let you step into another day wearing what breaks your posture and bends your crown. I want you to remember how you looked the night you didn't care who was watching. Your laughter was louder than any judgment. Your eyes brighter than any ceiling light. Your presence stronger than any shadow. That was the real you. The woman who wasn't dressed in fear or shame, but in freedom. And baby, that's the version of you I fell to my knees for. That's the version of you my soul keeps praying returns in full bloom. Do not wear their silence like earrings. Do not wear their doubt like perfume. Do not wear their rejection like shoes that blister every step. I forbid it, not because I want to control you, but because I want you whole. I want you glowing in fabrics of truth, stitched by grace, patterned by courage, and lined with destiny. And baby, when you stand in that kind of clothing, nothing and no one can strip you down again. I confess, there was a time I stood back and let you fold yourself smaller. I thought silence was respect, that letting you handle it alone was giving you space. But now I see, I wasn't protecting you. I was watching you drown under layers of other people's insecurities. Never again. If the world tries to put a cloak of shame over your shoulders, I will tear it off with words that echo like thunder. If anyone hands you the scarf of you're not enough, I'll burn it in the fire of my devotion. If fear tries to slip a hood over your eyes, I'll uncover your vision with the tenderness of my hands and the certainty of my love. Tonight, baby, the warning becomes a vow. You will not wear what isn't you. Not while I'm breathing. Not while I'm here. And if your heart heard me, leave one line to seal it. I choose freedom over fear. Baby, tonight I take this warning into the light. I won't fold this love back into secret pockets where only the moon ever knew. I will carry it like a banner until even strangers ask what it means to be chosen. There is a reckoning that happens when a man stops tiptoeing around his truth and starts building monuments with his words. Tonight, I will build one for you. I will stand in the middle of family rooms and comment threads and coffee shops and say your name slowly, like a benediction, so that everyone who ever thought they could minimize you will have to meet the man who will not allow it. You taught me something sacred by simply being you. How to be honest without being cruel. How to show up without auditioning for applause. How to love without needing proof every single hour. So when the world tries to hand you old costumes again, I will refuse them at the door. I will not allow gossip to dress you in shame. I will not let assumptions hymn the hymn of your dignity. If they whisper that you are too much, I will speak louder so their whisper becomes a question. If they package you in rumor, I will open the box and read your name aloud. If they think your tenderness is weakness, I will show them the fierce muscles of devotion that tenderness builds. Tonight, I stood up in a place where I had once been quiet. I spoke in a voice that used to be timid, and I said words that felt like catching holy fire. She is not a problem to be fixed. She is a person to be treasured. I watched jaws unclench and eyes soften in places that had hardened for years. That moment was not about proving I was right. It was about restoring what the world had accidentally stolen by misnaming you. The room was small, but my sentence was large enough to shift atmospheres. Family members who once rolled their eyes now asked how they could make amends. Friends who had accepted rumor as truth now asked for context. The ripple began with me refusing to treat your story like gossip and choosing instead to treat it like testimony. You will test the new boundaries, of course you will. It takes courage to step into a life where people see you and still love you. There will be days when old fears put on your favorite sweater and knock at your door, pretending to be comfort. There will be nights when my phone doesn't ring and your heart thinks I left you in the hall to fold yourself smaller again. When that happens, I will show up, even if I am tired. I will show up without speeches and without needing to be seen for my rival. I will simply be there, a hand on your back, an anchor at your feet. I will mirror your bravery by being brave too. Remember the afternoon you tried on that bright dress and then sat down because your hands shook with the audacity of being beautiful? You thought the room would judge you for color. I walked in and the air changed. I didn't clap. I held space. I said nothing dramatic. I slid the chair closer and handed you a cup of something warm and said, "Wear it." That was the first public rehearsal of a private promise, that I will refuse the world's permission slips for you and instead write your passes by hand. Small acts become the language of safety. Small acts become a new grammar of how we navigate the world. Honest, steady, unafraid. When neighbors try to place you back into a box, I will refuse postage. When colleagues try to laugh you down, I will bring up your name and your work and your courage until their laughter feels thin. When family dynamics try to pull you into old scripts where you are apologizing for breathing, I will step between the lines like a man who finally learned the margin is not for hiding, but for writing new history. I will not dominate your story. I will amplify it. I will not erase your voice. I will hand you the microphone with both hands and say, start again. There will be storms. There will be people who respond to my defense by asking me why I care so much. I will answer simply, because you rewired me. Because loving you taught me the shape of devotion, because I would rather be chastised for loyalty than complicit in neglect, because when I heard your heart, once hidden like a secret radio, I could not go back to static. I will face pushback with humility and firmness both. I will not be proud in a way that poisons. I will be proud in a way that protects. Tonight's declaration was not a show. It was a covenant. I promised aloud that I would be the home that reminds you who you are. I promised that when you enter a room, you would not feel like you were asking permission to exist. I promised to correct course when old habits tempt me toward distance. I promised to be the man who builds shelters with his words and windows with his actions. I promise to fight for the sacred in you and to tenderly refuse anything that tries to make you less. And just as I promised, you will practice your new cadence. You will practice saying no without apology. You will practice asking for what you need and not wrapping it in shame. You will practice stepping into light and believing it is safe to stay. I will be beside you, learning the same steps. We will rehearse grace with each other until it becomes reflex and not a performance. We will make mistakes. We will say sorry. We will hold the work of rebuilding like a fragile object with gloved hands and reverent fingers. We will grow not because we are flawless, but because we are faithful. If you felt the swell of this promise inside you, like a truth someone finally spoke for your heart, leave one line, gentle and honest. You are my witness, because being witnessed changes everything. It takes rumor and renders it useless. It takes isolation and turns it into communion. It wraps the fragile with a presence that says, I saw you and I remain. That is my oath. That is my public prayer. That is how I will love you out loud until the world learns a new vocabulary for what it means to keep someone sacred. Baby, let me tell you about the quiet work of love, the kind that doesn't need an audience or a certificate. After the declarations and the vows, after I stood in living rooms and said your name like a benediction, there came a long, tender season where faith had to translate into the small, sacred things. Because grandeur without habit becomes a story you can't live in. A promise is only as true as the mornings and the dishes and the apologies that show up when no one's watching. So tonight, I want to speak the covenant of the everyday, how I will prove this warning turned promise by the tiny mercies I keep. I will make your mornings softer, not by gifting you a single sunrise, but by showing up for the many dull sunrises until habit and devotion stitch into each other. When your alarm slices through the hush and your eyes are still learning the day, I will be the voice that asks you how you slept and then listens. I will not answer with a checklist. I will still the world for you. I will make coffee that isn't rushed. I will learn how you like it, how you tilt your cup with your thumb when a memory surfaces, and I will be gentle with the places grief lingers in your body. The ritual of being steady in the morning is a liturgy small enough to fit into our palms and powerful enough to keep the house warm. I will learn the language of your fear and practice translating it into safety. When the old story tries to dress you again in hesitation, I'll call it out, not with judgment, but with tender clarity. That's the old coat, I'll say. We don't use that anymore. And then, instead of leaving you to wrestle with it alone, I will put my hands on the zipper and pull you into the new garment we've chosen. Honesty, slow and kind. I will not fix you like a mechanic fixes a car. I will steady you like someone who remembers the map of your soul and refuses to lose it again. We will cultivate rituals that feel like prayers, small, repeated acts that wire our love into the architecture of daily life. Perhaps Sunday will be for silence and bread, breakfast at the table with no phones, 2 hands on the table instead of 100 tiny screens. Maybe Wednesdays will make a church of walking, where steps become confessions and the street lights witness our making. Maybe once a month we will open a jar labeled truths, where we drop notes, simple things we were grateful for, or apologies we couldn't find the courage to say out loud, and then read them together on a night when we want to be reminded of our progress. These are not romanticized props. They are guardrails. They keep us from sliding back into the performance of love and teach us the practice of belonging. I will protect the house we are building from predators of a different sort, the kind disguised as advice, the kind that smells like concern but tastes like control. When relatives come with weapons disguised as wisdom, maybe she's not serious, maybe she's too intense. You should be careful. I will answer with calm facts and steady presence. I will not let the narrative be rewritten by people who were never in our room when the lights went out and the prayers rose. I will not allow the gossip to become a scaffold. I will be your gatekeeper with kindness, firm, polite, immovable in defense of the dignity I have seen you carry through storms. You will see love in my corrections. I will correct not to wound, but to heal. When I call you out, it will be because I believe in your capacity to be better, not because I want to diminish you. We will practice feedback like sacred medicine, honest, specific, and followed by grace. When I'm at fault, and oh baby, there will be times I am, I will kneel in the hard place and say, I failed you. I'm sorry. Then I will refuse the easy exit of excuses and sit with you in repair work. The world doesn't get to watch every brow be softened by reconciliation, but we will catalog them in our private scripture of growth. There will be practical changes too, little shifts that add up into new seasons. I will turn the volume down on my defenses. I will make time for therapy if I need it. I will seek counsel that doesn't mansplain your pain away, but validates the complexity of what you carry. I will ask for help, not as a confession of weakness, but as an offering of maturity. I will learn how to rest in ways that honor you. No more late-night disappearances. No more just one more call that turns into 4. I will schedule my work around the life we plan to have, not the other way around. And when I fail, I will show up the next day, hungry to repair, humble enough to be repaired. We will make beauty practical, not the showy kind, but the kind that says, I remembered. I will mend buttons you lost. I will fold your sweaters the way you like them. I will put a light on when you come home late and leave a note that's not performative but sincere. Saw you come in, love. Coffee in the pot. I'm here. That smallness is holy. It is the everyday altar where faith meets flesh. It is how promises become concrete. And when the test comes, because tests always come, I will be the strong shore against which you can anchor. Maybe a rumor will attempt to rename you again, Maybe a former lover will reappear as a ghost, with intentions unclear. Maybe the world will offer opportunities that tempt us to forget the slow covenant we're building. In those hours, I will not panic. I will lean into the work we've done. I will call you and say, I remember. Let's walk through this together. I will not react hastily. I will choose deliberation that protects rather than reaction that humiliates. I will be a man who chooses the long game, who understands that hearts are not prizes to be won overnight, but gardens to be stewarded year by year. I will teach your children, should we have them, should the future allow it, how love looks when it is patient and brave. They will not learn about relationships from headlines or dramas. They will learn it from us sitting at the table, from me apologizing and you forgiving, from the way our hands find each other in the dark. I will tell them stories of your courage without making you a cautionary tale. I will honor your boundaries in their presence and model respect as a daily sermon. And baby, let's not forget the sacred language of celebration. I will celebrate your wins as if they were my own. I will stand with the loudest applause for your small and enormous victories, your work, your peace, the day you take one more step toward a healed part of yourself. I will throw confetti for the mundane triumphs that often pass unnoticed, because I am learning your worth, and I will not allow the world to forget it either. Joy is not frivolous in our house. It is revolutionary. If this part of the story touches you like a hand on a wound that finally knew it would be cared for, lead one line that anchors us. We practice love daily. We practice, baby, not perfectly, not with tidy edges, but with stubborn, holy diligence. This is how a warning becomes a covenant. This is how a promise becomes wallpapered into the rooms of our life. This is how I will keep you from dressing in anything that erases your light. This is how we will get up every morning and choose each other again and again until the choice is no longer hard, but the air we breathe. Baby, there are seasons when the world will mistake our gentleness for permission to press harder. There will be days when the gossip returns like a cold wind, rattling the shutters we thought we'd sealed. There will be strangers with loud opinions, relatives with quieter resentments, exes with confusing motives, and social feeds that amplify the smallest misstep into a headline. Tonight I want to teach you what I learned in the fire. The way we answer the tests is what writes our epitaph, or our legacy. I choose legacy. I choose mercy. I choose a love that answers every attack by lowering the volume of anger and raising the volume of grace. When someone tries to drape your name with shame, I will not meet cruelty with cruelty. I will meet it with a calm so steady it disarms their need to wound, not because I am weak, because I know the strength of restraint. I will correct where truth is blurred and remain silent where noise is only hunger. I will not let deflection become a weapon against you. I will do the hard work of naming what is false and pointing gently to what is true. If a rumor tries to factor your worth into a timeline it doesn't belong to, I will show up with receipts of character. How you loved, how you built, how you returned without drama, and how you gave when it cost you nothing, and when it cost you everything. But there will be moments when defense is necessary, when a line is crossed and your dignity is at stake. In those hours I will not flinch. I will step forward with righteous anger that does not consume me, an anger that protects rather than punishes. I will set boundaries like fences around a garden, clear, necessary, and loving. If anyone tries to return you to a former narrative, I will show them our contract of presence. The years we steward, the vows we whispered in code long before we had words, the evidence of our repair. I will not let their versions overwrite your voice. And when the test is not external but internal, when your own mind deserts you with memories that replay like old recordings, listen, I will be there with a kinder soundtrack. I will write new lyrics into your nights. I will be the steady drum that reminds your heart of truth. You are not what they said. You are what you are in the quiet of dawn, in the classroom of grief. In the small bravery of survival, we will practice new refrains together, like a litany of rescue. You are chosen. You are safe. You are allowed to want. I will teach your mind to reframe, because love without training still gets lost. We will train it with patience and prayer. There will be times when you test me too, when the old fear, like a jealous ex, tries to convince you I am performative. You will ask me for things I struggled to give at first. You will accuse me of silence when I meant safety. You will retreat in ways that feel familiar and safe. When you do, baby, I will not respond with defensiveness. I will respond with vulnerability. I will say, I see you. I am sorry I made you wait. Teach me how to love you better. I will show the muscles of humility, because the work of love is not only to protect you from the world, but to be refined by the work itself. I will take correction as an instrument of growth, not an arrow to dodge. We will also steward our public lives with intentionality. I will not weaponize our private hurts on social media or in petty circles. I will not use your scars as trophies to gain pity or status. We will create a fortress of discretion, a holy confidentiality that says, some stories are not for commentary. Some wounds are for healing, not headlines. If the world wants to know, we will give them truth. Measured, generous, and kind, never spectacle. We will control the narrative, not by canceling voices, but by offering a fuller story. The one written in the small, faithful acts no camera caught. There will be charity in my corrections. If someone once harmed you and now asks for restoration, I will not rush to revenge. I will interrogate motives and require accountability, but I will consider redemption where it is real. I will help you decide when to open a door and when to lock it. I will ask you what your soul needs, not what your pride demands. Sometimes safeguarding your heart means closing a gate, and other times it means building a bridge. I will build according to what heals you, not what gratifies my ego. When the tests involve the history of your pain, old lovers, betrayals, ghosts from your past, I will not play prosecutor or judge. I will be your companion through the courthouse of memory, sitting with you while you read testimony aloud and then offering a new verdict. You are more than the worst thing that happened to you. I will sit with the shame until it wears thin, and then together we will bury it under a garden we plant for joy. We will ritualize the letting go, small ceremonies, writing a memory on paper and burning it, planting a seed where pain once grew, fasting for clarity when our souls need unclouded sight. These acts will be both symbolic and practical. They will create new neural pathways for hope where despair used to live. We will also quarantine toxicity with compassion. When someone in our orbit shows patterns that repeatedly injure, when apologies are habitual and change is absent, we will set limits. Not vindictive exile, but precise boundaries that protect growth. We will keep people in our lives in roles that reflect who they are now, not who they promised to be. Love is generous, but it is not blind. Love knows when to stay and when to release. I will help you understand that kind of tough mercy, because I want your heart to be whole, more than I want your forgiveness to be forced. And baby, we will develop a vocabulary for repair. I will teach you how to say, I was wrong, without erasing your experience. I will teach you how to receive apology without giving away your dignity. We will make a covenant for mending that includes time frames and tangible acts. When someone apologizes, they must show change. When they ask for re-entry, they must do the work. We will not be naive, but neither will we be cruel. We will be discerning, measured, brave. One of the fiercest tests will be temptation. Opportunities that glitter, promising easy exits or applause. If career success asks us to sacrifice our sacredness, we will choose the sacred. If fame tries to rewrite our story for virality, we will say no. If quick fixes offer temporary relief but long-term loss, we will pick loss that leads to growth over gain that hollowed the heart. I will refuse shortcuts that demean you. I will take the long road that builds character and keeps your name clean. We will live like craftsmen, slow and precise, carving a legacy we can stand beside without shame. There will be days when I fail you. There will be moments my resolve disappoints me in you. Maybe I will disappear into work. Maybe I will allow pride to close me off. Maybe fear will make me smaller. When I fail, I will be public in my repair. I will not hide my faults behind excuses. I will own them, apologize, and then show up in practical ways to restore your trust. I will not expect immediate healing. I will understand trust is rebuilt like old houses, brick by careful brick, not with a hurried roof. I will be patient. I will not bargain for forgiveness. I will earn it. Finally, baby, I want you to know that tests are not punishments. They are the making of us. They refine what we say we are and show whether the vows we speak are anchored in truth or mere emotion. I choose to be refined. I choose to sit in the fire with you and not walk away when heat becomes honest. I choose to be a man whose love is both shield and soil, protective when needed, nourishing always. If this part landed like a steady hand on your shoulder, reminding you that tests will come, but that we have a practiced answer, leave a single line that affirms our stance. We answer with mercy, baby. After promises and defenses, after small mercies and public oaths, there comes the slow, sacred work of healing that nobody sees on highlight reels. This is the part where vows are no longer just declarations. They become breath. We learn to inhale together. We move from dramatic rescues to the quiet dignity of being steady in each other's rooms, in each other's mornings, in the small soft hours when the world forgets to applaud us and we must applaud ourselves. Tonight, I want to sit with you in that hush and talk about how we mend the inside places that were hurt before our story began, and how we make intimacy a temple where both of us can kneel and rise again. First, we will make safety tangible, not as a theory, not as a hashtag, but as architecture. Predictable rhythms, honesty without theater, and invitations to say the things we're afraid to say. When you name a fear, I will not shrink it down into a lesson. I will set a lamp beside it and learn its edges. When your body carries a memory, I will be gentle enough to notice its language, where it tightens, where it softens, and I will be patient as you teach me how to touch those places so they remember ease again. Safety looks like doors with locks we both respect, like nights where phones are surrendered at the bedside, like a pact where we do not weaponize past mistakes in late-night arguments. Safety looks like maps. We will draw them, agree on routes, and promise not to take roads that have caused collapse before. Second, we will make intimacy slower. There is a world that equates speed with success and quick fixes with mastery, but we choose the opposite. We will savor the not urgent, cup of tea conversations, the half hour of silence where presence speaks, the afternoons where we assemble a meal and tell each other what the small parts of our day looked like. Physical closeness will be less about performance and more about attunement, learning the way your breath shifts when you are afraid, learning the cadence of conversation that soothes you, learning how to lie beside you in a storm without trying to solve it first. Sex will be prayerful, not pressured, a holy collaboration where consent, curiosity, and care lead the choreography. We will practice asking, "Is this honoring you?" before we assume anything else. Third, we will make repair a ritual. When either of us breaks a promise, we will not let shame be the final word. We will name the fracture, take responsibility, and enact a ritual of reweaving. Words spoken, actions scheduled, a small symbolic act, perhaps planting something, perhaps a handwritten letter placed in a jar, so that our apologies translate into physical changes. Repair requires time, and time requires humility. I will accept your timelines. I will not demand instant absolution. I will be the patient worker, returning each day to the site of damage until the structure is sound again. Fourth, we will invite medicine, practical help that's often underrated. Therapy will be a normal chapter in our life, not a scandal. We will read the books that shift our patterns. We will meet with counsel when grief wants clever answers, and a trained ear is wiser than our defenses. We will use tools, journaling, breathwork, breath-synced walks, shared playlists that bring us back to tenderness, to keep the nervous systems recalibrating towards safety. I will learn when to hold space and when to step back so professionals can tend to wounds that need more than my love. Investing in healing is not a detour, it is the main road. Fifth, we will make trust visible in everyday contracts. Trust is not abstract. It lives in the small promises we keep. When I say I'll be home by dinner, I will. When I say I'll call, I will. When I say I will protect your reputation, I will. Your trust will not be a fragile object I hand you for safekeeping. It will be an instrument I tune daily so it keeps singing. We will write a few practical agreements together. Things like communication expectations, social media boundaries, and how we handle friendships of the opposite sex. So there's no guessing, only agreed upon guardrails. These will not be cages. They will be railings on a balcony from which we can see further without fear. Sixth, we will cultivate wonder. Healing without wonder becomes sterile. We will leave margins for awe. Weekend surprises that aren't expensive but are full of attention. Spontaneous notes where we name what we see in each other that is new. Retreats, many and long, where we step out of routine and remember why we chose each other before history had a say. We will build a shelf of memories, photos, letters, small artifacts that we revisit when life gets complicated, so our hearts can remember the evidence of endurance. 7th, we will protect our inner speech. The words we say to ourselves in private are prophetic. They steer our actions in public. We will practice kinder self-talk. We will catch the sentences that begin with, "I'm not enough," and rewrite them into truth. "I am learning. I am seeing. I am safe." When shame rises, we will call it by name and refuse to feed it. We will become each other's editors for the internal scripts that lie about worth. I will be the one who whispers your good sentences back to you when the world tries to overwrite them. 8th, we will build community that blesses, not binds. We will choose friends who ask good questions, who hold confidentiality, and who are willing to say hard things with love. Our community will be a set of witnesses who celebrate our wins and help us course correct without spectacle. We will avoid crowds that gossip and gravitate toward tables that teach the language of repair. We will create an inner circle skilled at humility and mercy, and we will refuse invitations that thrive on drama. 9th, we will honor heritage and ancestry with tenderness. The patterns that made your family and mine are part of the soil we were born into. We will study them without blaming them. We will trace cycles, forgive where forgiveness is due, and stop repeating habits that harmed our grandparents and parents. We will write new pages in the family ledger. Less fear, more presence. Less silence, more conversation. Fewer inherited defenses, more chosen practices. We will tell our children, if God blesses us with them, the story of how two imperfect people learn to be sacred custodians of each other's hearts. 10th, we will make legacy intentional. We will ask the big questions. What do we want our love to teach the next generation? How do we want to be spoken of at tables long after our hair is gray? We will plant trees and write letters and set money aside for causes that matter to both of us. We will invest in a life that outlives us, not by fame or spectacle, but by steady acts that ripple outward. Mentoring a young father, serving quietly at a shelter, keeping a tradition of generosity that becomes a family hallmark. Finally, beloved, I want you to know, healing is not a finish line. It is a daily compass. There will be days we falter and nights we doubt, but every morning holds the possibility of being kinder than we were yesterday. I will be the man who leans into that possibility with you. I will be the one who says over and over, let's try again. I will be the one who learns your edges as lovingly as I learn the map of my own mistakes. If this part sat on your chest like a promise you could breathe, leave one short line as a breath we share. We choose healing together. Baby, hold that line like a steady hand on the steering wheel of our life, because choosing healing together is not a single sunrise. It is 1,000 mornings where we decide again and again to tend the same soil. Healing will ask for patience that feels boring at first and holy later. It will request apologies that are messy and repairs that are slow and ordinary. But I promise you this, I will show up for the boring, the messy, the slow. I will sit through the small repairs and celebrate each stitch that holds. I will not grow weary of the slow medicine, because I have seen what patient tending does. It turns ruins into rooms, scars into maps, and two tremulous souls and two architects of grace. When your fear wakes at night and whispers the old lies, I will be the steady voice that reads the truth back to you until your heart remembers its own language. Remember that our vows will be farm work, not fireworks. There will be seasons of drought and seasons of bloom. There will be months where conversation needs fertilizer and others where silence needs to be respected like a resting field. I will learn the weather of your inner landscape. When you need quiet, I will be quiet. When you need a chorus, I will sing until your walls open. I will celebrate the small recoveries, the day you tell a hidden truth without flinching, the morning you sleep without waking to replay old hurts, the afternoon you accept a compliment without tucking it away. Those little victories are the true festivals. I will mark them, remember them, and use them as proof for the hard nights when doubt asks for evidence. We will build a culture in our room where confession is followed by repair, and repair is followed by celebration. When I fail, I will not hide. I will be public in my humility and private in my shame. I will call out my error and then do the work to fix it. No platitudes, no promises saved for special occasions. Just steady, repeatable acts that say louder than words, I am here to be trustworthy. And you, beloved, will have the right to name what you need from me, without my defensiveness making it about me. That is the covenant. Your request never becomes a weapon to wound me, and my response never becomes an excuse to avoid growth. We will rehearse kindness until it becomes reflex, and forgiveness until it becomes its own second nature. I will guard the spaces that protect our healing, the times we keep for each other, the boundaries we enforce with love, the sacred privacy we maintain, so that repair can happen away from the gossip of the crowd. We will have rooms in our life that are not open to the public eye, a bench in a park where we go to confess, a drawer with letters that map our progress, a ritual that grounds us when the world demands performance. In those rooms, we will practice softness without spectacle, and we will build a private canon of traditions that remind us who we were and who we are becoming. Those small, guarded practices will be the scaffolding for recovery. They will be the steady drumbeat beneath our most courageous steps. Baby, we have walked through warnings and vows, through promises whispered in the dark and declarations shouted in the light. We have stripped away the old garments of shame and replaced them with the royal fabric of truth. We have faced the tests, learned the rituals of repair, and laid down blueprints for healing that will outlive both the storms and the silence. And now, beloved, here at the end of this message, I want to place the seal on everything we've built together tonight. I need you to understand, this was never just about what not to wear. It was about what you are called to carry: freedom, safety, reverence, and the kind of love that rewires both of us into something stronger than we were before. Baby, my final order is also my final blessing. Never again dim yourself to make others comfortable. Never again apologize for a soul too radiant for small cages. Never again pick up the chains you once laid down, just because someone else doesn't know how to walk beside a free woman. You are meant to stand in garments of peace, to walk barefoot in rooms that once told you to shrink, to laugh so loud that doubt has to pack its bags and leave. And I will be there, anchoring, covering, declaring, until even heaven says they kept the covenant. You are not just my love, you are my sacred charge. the temple I honor with both devotion and discipline. This story isn't ending. It's only pausing here, in this holy silence, where the truth has been spoken, and your spirit can finally breathe without weight. So, baby, when you wake tomorrow and stand in front of the mirror, remember this. The reflection staring back is not just a woman. She is a prophecy fulfilled. She is a prayer walking. She is the answer I will never stop thanking God for. And if I have any last words tonight, they are simple. I will guard your light with mine. Always, beloved souls, if this message touched you, if you felt his voice echo in the chambers of your own heart, don't leave this moment in silence. Write in the comments, I choose freedom, and let heaven hear your agreement. And to every beautiful soul who supports this channel, your super thanks means more than a donation. It is a prayer, a blessing, a way of keeping these messages alive so they can reach the ones who need them most. If you feel led, you can click the super thanks button below and know that your name is carried in my prayers, your support honored in every word that flows here. Stay with me, beloved. Subscribe, share, and never forget, you are loved beyond measure. Until the next message, may your spirit wear only what was made for you: joy, courage, and the radiant armor of truth. AJ. Message ends, but your story of freedom is just beginning. Hot, 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 hard. But your story of freedom is just beginning.